Welcome to today's Explainer. I'm absolutely pumped about what we're unpacking today. We're going to fundamentally shift our relationship with honestly the single most powerful emotion in the human experience. If you've ever felt held back, or if you've ever wondered why you hesitate on the things that matter most to you, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down some fascinating philosophical perspectives and completely re-examine the invisible architecture behind our daily choices. Think about the one emotion that truly shapes our decisions. It's a force that guides our hand, way more than love.
It easily and usually silently overpowers even our wildest ambition.
And it completely defies our logic. It steers us right away from what our rational mind absolutely knows is best. That force is fear. Part 1. The slow, quiet fear. The invisible force behind our choices. Okay, let's dive right into this. We aren't talking about that immediate adrenaline-pumping survival instinct today. You know, on one hand, you've got instinctive fear. Lions, fires, survival stuff. That's the reflex keeping you alive. But on the flip side, there's this slow, quiet, persistent fear, just living in the background of almost every choice you make. It's the fear of failure, of judgment. It's that sheer terror of hitting send on an email to your boss when you're kind of sure you attached the wrong file, or that deep ache of just not being enough. While instinctive fear protects you, this quiet fear, the fear of what might happen, actually does the exact opposite. It straight up imprisons you. Part 2. Suffering in imagination, the Stoic approach to the catastrophe loop. Humanity's been wrestling with this mental prison for millennia. The ancient philosophers spent their whole lives studying it. Not to magically eliminate it, because they knew that's impossible, but to stop letting it make all their decisions. The great Stoic philosopher Seneca hit the nail on the head. He said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Just think about how true that is. Our fearful minds are absolute experts at catastrophe. We take a tiny 1 in a million possibility and blow it up into a guaranteed certainty. We run the worst-case scenario on loop, adding such vivid details that our bodies actually respond as if it's real. Your heart races, your stomach drops, all for a disaster playing out entirely in your own head. The reality? Most of the stuff we're terrified of will literally never happen. And the stuff that does, it almost never feels as devastating as we built it up to be. Now, what's really interesting here is how the Stoics countered this. They didn't run from fearful thoughts. They actually leaned into them through a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. Every single morning, they'd spend a few minutes deliberately imagining the worst possible thing that could happen. Not to trigger a panic attack, but to inoculate their minds. It's kind of like getting a vaccine for your anxiety. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius did this every day. By calmly visiting that worst-case scenario in the quiet of the morning when nothing bad was actually happening, he made the imagined disaster familiar. He completely drained its power, realizing that dreading a loss is often way more destructive than the loss itself. Part 3. The material of courage. Reframing fear with Aristotle and Kierkegaard. Let's move to how this builds, because this is where the paradigm truly shifts. We're pivoting from just managing fear to realizing we actually require it. Aristotle had this brilliant framework. On one extreme, you've got the completely fearless person. Aristotle argued that person isn't brave, they're just reckless. They lack wisdom. On the other extreme, you have the person paralyzed by caution, totally imprisoned. True courage? It's never the absence of fear. Courage exists right smack in the middle. It's the act of feeling genuine, valid fear and choosing to act anyway, because what you value is simply more important than what you're afraid of. Aristotle wrote, "Courage is the first of human virtues because it makes all others possible." Think about it. You literally cannot be honest without the courage to face the awkwardness of that honesty. You can't love deeply without having the courage to risk tremendous loss. Fear isn't the opposite of courage. Fear is the raw material that courage is actually made of. Building right on top of that, the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard brought in this intense realization. He said, "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom." When you're stressing over a massive life decision like who to be or what path to take, it's not because your options are bad. It's because they're real. You are genuinely free, and that means your choices actually matter. That kind of freedom is terrifying because you and only you are completely responsible for the shape of your existence. You can't just blame fate. That anxiety you're feeling, it's just the price of admission for your freedom. Part 4. The map of values. The Buddha's precise analysis of attachment. If we look east, the Buddha offered what might be the most precise analysis of fear ever articulated. He taught that at its core, every single fear comes down to one thing: attachment. You fear loss only because you love. You fear failure only because you have ambition. Fear is actually this incredible map, pointing directly to everything you deeply value. But, and this brilliantly illustrates the point, the Buddha made a crucial distinction between caring and clinging. You should absolutely love, value, and commit to things. That's caring. You hold those things lightly. But fear takes over when you shift into clinging, that white-knuckled grip where you hold on like it's the only thing keeping you breathing. The fear lives in that tight grip, not in the love itself.
Part 5. The mask we wear, the fear of being truly seen.
Now, there's a very specific fear most of us carry, but we almost never talk about it directly. It's the quietest, but honestly, maybe the most devastating fear of all: the terror of being truly seen. Not just looked at, but deeply understood, known, and encountered exactly as you actually are. Philosophers called this the persona, or the mask. It's that carefully edited performance of ourselves we put on for the world. And sure, it feels like armor. It protects you from being judged. But the absolute tragedy here is that this mask functions perfectly as a prison. You can't be truly known by someone if you're hiding from them. You can't be truly loved if the version of you they see is always carefully managed and edited. Keeping yourself totally safe from judgment inevitably keeps you safe from love. And man, a life kept perfectly safe from love is a heartbreakingly lonely one. Part 6. How to act anyway. Practical steps to live with fear. So what does this all mean? How do we take all this heavy philosophy and actually use it? How do we live alongside our fear without letting it drive the car? Remember, we can't eliminate it, and thanks to Aristotle, we know we wouldn't even want to. Here's how you act, anyway, in 3 practical steps. Step 1. Name it. Fear absolutely loves the dark. The second you say, "I am afraid of this specific thing," you pull it right into the light and strip away its power. Step 2. Examine it. Just like Seneca told us. Is it real? Is it happening now? Or is it a future that doesn't even exist yet? If the absolute worst case happened, could you survive it? The answer is almost always yes. And step 3. Act anyway. Not without the fear, but with it. Carry it right along with you. So, the crucial point is this. When you're having that tough conversation you've been putting off, or taking that risk you keep postponing, that tight knot in your stomach isn't a sign to stop. It's a biological signal that what you're doing truly matters. I want to leave you with a quick reflection today. Think of that one real thing you aren't doing because you're afraid. Not the small stuff, the big conversation, the major career pivot, that step you keep almost taking and then pulling back from. Name it to yourself right now. Got it? Okay, now ask yourself, what are you actually protecting by not doing this? And is that protection really worth the cost? Because the true cost of letting fear win isn't a single moment of safety. The true cost is a life lived so much smaller than it ever needed to be. And you deserve so much more than that. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.